Right, so Alpha Capital Community, I am joined with Matt. I said that wrong at the start, didn't I, Matt? So, not Will, Matt and Jamie. Matt is a director of our new sponsored charity, mental health charity, Mentality, and Jamie, I believe, is a trustee of the mental health charity. So we wanted to do something a little bit different today. We wanted to bring you guys on to just give the community a little bit of an understanding of, first of all, on our side, what we're doing, what our ambitions and goals are to help young people with mental health issues, which we're seeing all over the world at the moment, especially here in the UK as well, to give them an opportunity to, you know, understand that it is okay to talk about this subject. You know, you're not weak if you do so, but also that there is people like yourselves and organisations like yourselves out there that, you know, can give a helping hand. And we hope Alpha, as a group worldwide, will be able to support you this year and aid you to raise some money from the community, but from ourselves as well, to see how we can target and combat some of these issues that we're seeing everywhere. So do you want to kick us off and just let us know a little bit about
firstly, thank you for the opportunity. It's nice to have the support because, Mentality have been running for nearly 5 years and everything has been self-funded so far. So to have this opportunity is, it's incredible. So, but a little bit of background. Mentality set up in April 2020. A good friend of mine asked me if I would be willing to help him. It was just before all the lockdown palaver, people were being isolated, and it just seemed like a really good time to set up a community group up, something that would help engage the social aspect and element. And it was timely for me as well because it was 2 months after my auntie committed suicide. So it felt like, you know, when just stars align, and it just did. So we started work back in 2020. And it's grown. So for the first few years, it was just a group of us. And then I think Jamie got involved after the second year. Like, he was engaging on the socials, and you know when
after you blanked me a couple of times.
You know when you just click with someone and you realise actually like what he's talking about makes a lot of sense. And
so Jamie was in your DMs.
Jamie was in my DMs. And I've learned a lot from him. And he's a guy with experience. And so you got involved 22, 23, and now he's a fully fledged trustee. But we started kind of as a small group. We're now a CIC, which we have been for just over a year. And as of the 1st of February, we are going to be applying, or we're going to become a fully registered charity. So it's been a nice sort of growth evolution.
Is that what's that been like? Has that been a hard process?
In general, yes and no, because I mean, we've not had to deal with it. We've got one of our guys has worked in banking for a long time, Greg, shout out to Greg, and he's been dealing with the process, and we've got a specialist charity accountant as well. So we've got people dealing with that. So it's not been difficult for us or for me, but obviously they're working behind the scenes to get all that sorted and doing all the necessaries. But it's been, like I said, it's all voluntary. No one's on a salary, and it's done through love. And it's been tough sometimes, like some of the events we do, there's quite a lot going on, and it does become a headache. It affects family life, actually running it. But
some people have had to step away.
People have come and gone. Like it's not an easy thing, and also you have to be in the right mindset to be able to help people. Because if you're struggling yourself, you're not. There's the old analogy: you can't pour from an empty cup. So you have to sort of preserve your own self, kind of, and to be able to give.
And you kind of got to be a bit selfish with that as well. Because if you're not, there has to be boundaries for yourself. Because obviously there's a lot of strain on family life. You're doing it as a voluntary measure. But if it wasn't for people like yourselves doing this, then others wouldn't get the opportunity. But there is times where you've got to say, listen, I need a bit of a break here because I need to worry about my own mental health and my own family.
Protecting yourself. And one of the most common things I write is self-care is not selfish.
Amen. Yeah, 100%.
That's quite a lot of the time when I'm engaging on socials, self-care is not selfish, because it's not. Because if you're looking after yourself, you've got more to give to others. So it's been a journey, and you know what, we're excited. We're still growing. And we've got lots of plans. We've got a lot of plans to sort of grow it more from being just face to face, which is it's incredibly important.
That'll always be there. The walk and talks.
Of course, it's integral to it. But now we're getting to a point now where we want to bring more or have more of an online presence. We want to evolve it. We want to create courses, accessible courses. And the first one is going to be with Jamie. He's gone through, you won't mind me saying, like anxiety, like ridiculous.
Well, that's what I was going to ask before we go on to talk about how your charity helps. Jamie, obviously, you slid in Will's DMs.
Just Matt's DMs.
Matt's DMs.
Call me Will.
I've got it branded on my head. You know what I mean? That's the sickness I've had for the past 3 weeks. But you slid in Matt's DMs or Will's, you know what I mean? But yourself personally, how, you know, what inspired you not just to join the mentality group, but is there a little bit of a story behind your mental health?
Yeah, I mean, mine's a massive story, so I won't take over the podcast. But I come from a South London estate, Council rough area, very dyslexic, ADHD, OCD, all this stuff going on. Back in the day, you weren't sort of diagnosed it like it is now. You was just put in a special class sort of thing. And etc. So I was always being bullied because I was skinny, not very good at sports. There was just seemed a lot against me. But that's what toughens you up. That's what makes you who you are. My father was a very angry man, so I was always sort of aware of hot and cold situations. I had to gauge a lot of thinking all the time to whether it was going to be safe.
That serves you well in life, though. I have the same thing, the hot and cold situations.
But it can make you overthink, and this 100%. Is where we got my mental health in a place where I was just constantly thinking. I went through boxing is what saved me. I got into boxing around about the age of 12.
I'm the same.
And that saved me. That gave me a chance to find out who I was. To sort of connect with myself, because I was people pleasing. It's the fawn response. I don't know if you're aware of. You've got fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And fawning is you're doing everything you can to regulate someone else's, like my parents. If I can make them happy and calm their nervous system down, especially my dad, then it would calm my nervous system down. And that's people pleasing. We're trying to make others happy in order to regulate our own nervous system. So I was always good at this sort of chameleon side of fitting in. But the boxing, I found out who I was. It tested me as a person, and that changed my trajectory completely. I won an All England title at 17. I got picked to represent England twice.
The ABs?
Got picked to represent England twice. So I done well in it. I walked away at 23, ranked number 3 in England, which was nice. I didn't want to do professional. I just wanted to. And then I stepped into the world, drink, drugs, girls, and had my fun with that. Loads of stories there, but to the point, getting to where we are with the mental health, my older sister was really, really close with, fantastic relationship with my sister. She passed away. She died of cancer. I was 43. And a year or so later, my world was upside down. She was my rock. Anything I needed to talk to someone about, I would go to her. We've talked about anything and everything. And all of a sudden, my rock weren't there anymore. The person I was missing the most and needed the most was gone. And I just was sitting at a train station, and all of a sudden I had this rush of adrenaline. My heart felt like it was jumping out my chest. My head was everywhere. My legs went weak. I had to sit down. And this was a panic attack. And I've never had a panic attack. I didn't even know what a panic attack was. It was like, I've had anxiety to get in the ring, which is good. You want to get pumped up. You want to get nervous. But nothing like this. And I sat there and cold sweats, all this, like I say, my heart palpitations, you name it. The train was going past, and I'm thinking, I've got to get over work. I've got to get on that train. And 3 trains before I could get on the train. And this went on for probably a good couple of years. I was having these panic attacks. Like sometimes 20 a day. People talk about panic attacks and it'll be like 1 a day or whatever, or it lasts 20 minutes. But this felt like it was my life, was panic attacks. And it got to the point where if I thought to myself, if I've got to live in this fear, I don't want to live like it anymore. I don't want to live like this. This is just a horrendous place to be. And I didn't want to take any drugs, like from the doctors, etc. So I kept hearing fight, flight, freeze. It's the fight response sort of thing, stress response. So I thought, right, well, at one point in my life, I was getting up in the ring and boxing in front of 20,000 people, 2,000 people. So,
No, sound
Slightly
like Carl,
in your
Carl
head.
Frotz there,
Yeah,
isn't it?
in your head.
Carl
It's
Frotz,
like,
yeah, the ego's getting a bit big.
Wembley in front of 80,000 people.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, I couldn't step outside my front door. I was that bad with anxiety. I was constantly having these panic attacks. And it just didn't make sense. And I wanted to know the root. I wanted to know why this was happening. I needed to know the functions,
and I think that
physiology.
dispels a myth as well, is that like when you hear about people suffering with anxiety and panic attacks, like it sounds as if it's quite a small issue, but if Jamie, a southeast born boxer, he's a tough guy, do you know what I mean? Like if he can have a panic attack which is debilitating, then it's like it kind of normalizes it, and it kind of like actually, you know, it is an issue. It's not just this kind of
Well, it goes
little
back
panic
to
attack.
staying on the sort of boxing reference, and a big shout out to like the National Lottery that does all these boxing clubs, the boys clubs, and they invest the money in there, and they do well, and they take kids off the street. But you only have to look as far as the big man Tyson Fury and what he went through.
Exactly.
You know, a big tough strong man like that.
It's definitely
brought him
not
to his knees.
Yeah, it's definitely not that myth of it being a weakness.
No,
you
it's
know,
not.
you're weak because, I mean, boxing, I was disciplined to get up at sort of 6:30, 6 o'clock or whatever. The only day I missed out was Christmas Day running when I was in championships, like when I was competing. I've been in my job sort of 38 years. I'm very disciplined. I've been with my wife 30 years. You know, I dedicate myself. So it's not like I'm like here, there and everywhere. There's not a weakness side. I mean, firefighters suffer with all sorts of soldiers, PTSD, nurses, policemen. These are jobs that take a lot of courage.
Even like in our side of thing, you know, the financial services sector, the law sector, whatever, anything that's, you know, whether it's work, it's high pressure, or some of the guys that are watching here today, the trading aspect of it. You know, it's all, first of all, it's all adrenaline led anyway. Yeah. Because not one day is the same. You've got your highs, your lows, and you need to mediate that. But once you've got them highs and lows, and you've got everything that's going on, losing trades, losing money, making money, or losing everything, you know, because it does happen. Yeah. But they've also got to battle with their normal stuff. Like they might have had loss in the family. They might have had, before we had this conversation, trauma, haven't been brought up right, been brought up in the wrong areas, or even been brought up in the right areas and just not had enough love and care, and it's just absolutely, you know,
it's human at the end of the day.
One thing, like, because I've had my own mental struggles, which we won't go into today, but it's a paralyzer. It paralyzes so many people, and it's like, you know, we were talking about before, and the reason why I want to bring, this was my idea I want to support a mental health charity with Alpha. You know, want to give them young people out there not just a chance, because what we do with the trading aspect, for people to make good money, but to actually address this issue at the top, which is two issues. One, some people think there's not enough money out there in the world, so that's what trading gives them people the opportunity to be the best. But like a boxer, like trading, it takes a certain amount of discipline to get to the top of that trade. Not for everyone, someone's going to get it. But at the same time, the mental health aspect, because you might be the best trader in the world, you might be the best boxer in the world, but if you don't have that mental health, it will ruin you.
It's a massive player in any sport. I think 80% has got to be down to, you can train hard, you can have all the skills like elder trainer, all the backing sort of thing, but if your mind is not right, you got, when you go in there, you got to be willing to beat Tyson. Doesn't matter who's opposite you.
You can't go in a ring, or you can't go on you can't have a day's trading where your mind isn't focused on either trading or getting punched in the face by someone else.
Doubt.
You know what I mean?
It's doubt.
It's doubt.
Yeah,
it's doubt. It's anxiety. It's I'm not good enough. It's double questioning yourself, and that. But that, like we said before, it is resilience. It's built. However, resilience you can either get through it and build resilience by yourself. But unfortunately, talk about suicide there and people and death. People get to a point where even the resilience hasn't been built because they die beforehand, because they can't deal with the pressures of mental health.
We're not built. It's a skill. It's the same as any, like the trading, boxing, like you do the golf, the football, whatever. It's a skill, and there's a skill in emotional education, knowing your emotions.
Emotional intelligence.
There's a skill in dealing with. You're not taught how to. With school, you're taught how to just be in your head. There's a skill of getting out your head.
I think a lot of parents, even nowadays, a lot of parents don't have emotional intelligence.
But it's broken people being parents of future broken people, isn't it? And
exactly, exactly. And it perpetuates a cycle. Like for me, I had to learn myself emotional intelligence. I had to like pick up books and read it, and obviously navigate life as well. But I had to put the pieces together myself. Like it wasn't until I was my late 20s, early 30s that I actually started to develop myself and change my own mindset, my own personal philosophy.
How old are you now, Matt?
So I'm 40 this year, so I'm 39.
See, I'm 33 now. And it's probably been the past 2 years where I've actually started developing a very strong emotional intelligence. Because you can be a business owner, professional athlete, and you can be very smart in certain aspects and very strong in certain ways. But if you're leveling your skill set up, whether it comes to trading, whether it comes to fitness, but you're neglecting that mentality, because with trading it's a lot of psychology anyway. But there's intelligence, and then there's emotional intelligence. If you have to master that first, because I think it was Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic, said that the man that is the best is the man that masters himself. And I think that is so important. And I'm quite fortunate to, as yourself and yourself, to learn that. But some people never learn it.
We end up studying everything else around us and all these different areas, but we never study the thing that's studying the thing. You know, we seem to forget that this is where really we need to understand. We're walking around in this and living life all day and every day in this. So you need to understand. That was my direction. For me to get through what I was going through and then come out the other side, was to study this. I needed to know how it worked. Right back to, like I say, the fight, flight, freeze response,
the issue is that you can't see it, can you?
Brain. No,
that's the thing, and a lot of people don't get that. Like, for example, and we go back, before we go on to other bits and pieces, we go back to our business, which is trading and online. You talked about you getting your online presence. You know, every young kid now, 18 to 25 or whatever, say kid, but any young adult or teenager, you look at the phone now and it's instant gratification. You know, you see these people driving these cars, these watches.
Comparison.
And it's not real, 90% of it anyway. It's all false. You know, and a lot of people try and compare themselves to that, so that makes their mental health deteriorate. Rather than taking a step back, saying, right, I need to improve my self-worth, improve my mentality, using the word first, as well as my other skill sets. You know, it's so important.
There was something that changed for me, like back in 2014. It was a good friend got me onto this guy called Jim Rohn. Have you ever heard of Jim Rohn? It's worth its weight in gold in itself. But one of the things that he said is, your own personal philosophy is like the set of a sail. If you've got your sail up, you use the winds, you use the things that are happening. If you don't have your own sail up, you're just going to drift in life and you're going to hit the rocks. So that analogy of setting the sail, your own personal philosophy, your own mindset, your own mentality, for me just hit home, like, and it really stuck with me. And then that put me onto a path of self-development.
But it goes back to self-development, discipline, and it's all out there. It's like, you know, with your training, you've got your diet, you've got all your running, this and that and the other. But, you know, and the traders that are watching this now, they've got their trading plan, they've got their routine, they know what they're looking for, looking for certain levels in the market, they're looking for certain conditions, they're waiting on certain data releases, whereas the mental health aspect is, what's your goals? Have you got them goals down? Do you understand what you need to get to these goals? Can you keep the discipline? And that's your sail, that's your compass. You know? But what you've soon realised, what I realised is, when I had my compass out, I started writing my goals down, there were certain parts of my emotional intelligence or certain parts of my mental health issues that I had to deal with that I couldn't deal with that compass, because the compass kept breaking every time I tried to do certain things. And that's how you start to realise, when you start writing it all down, I can't do this, why is that? And only then you can start getting to the root, like you say.
Searching.
Searching to find yourself. Oh, there's that little boy from many years ago. That's what I need. That's what I need to be fulfilled by.
Guidance, isn't it?
It's hard.
Really,
it is, it's guidance. And not many people have it. So the hardest thing is to try and work the guidance out yourself, but more importantly, in what's really needed, and hence why your charities is, what does a mental health charity, what does a mentor, because you get trading mentors, a mental health mentor, what does that look like? And I think that's going to be the next question. Mentality, we understand how it's built, we understand the vision, but what do you guys do? Like, what if I'm struggling and I'm in the community and I'm, you know, got a lot of potential in life, as everyone does, because everyone can do whatever they want to do if they put their mind to it, How do they get their mind to it? What do they need to, where does it start?
So with us, someone is it. Usually, people are directed towards us.
Yeah. But who would that just word of mouth?
That would be word of mouth. That would be friends, family, people who are worried. Sometimes people do reach out to us off their own back, which is great.
Do they find you on will they type it in on Google?
Yeah, they can find us either locally, word of mouth, or on our socials. But they'll reach out to us, and our bread. This is what I consider our bread and butter. Is we offer a walk and talk service, a one-on-one. So we'll establish a correspondence. We'll kind of like build a rapport, get to know someone like vaguely. But then when we meet, we'll go for like an hour, walk and talk, and it's quite deliberate in the sense of when you're walking side by side with someone, you're not maintaining eye contact. It's non-confrontational. It opens up the conversation, so you can have.
It's a lot more relaxed. Yeah.
It's a lot more relaxed. Yeah. It's like when you're driving, you're side by side. You're not kind of sat looking at someone in eye to eye.
And it's with a stranger, which is always
so it's always
better.
It's always
and the body's moving, which is always important.
Yeah.
So we'll go for a walk and talk, and it lasts for about an hour, and we get to know the person. And I think that is the key thing. Is the time. Spending time, building empathy, understanding, and from that point on, we then kind of build a sort of a unique kind of tailor-made response. Like we'll think, oh, okay, this person needs something specific to them. It's not like a blanket, one kind of solution fits all. I mean, one that sticks in my mind, and it is.
I was going to ask you about.
Yeah, one that sticks in my mind that I'm sure I can share because it's something that I don't know. It was a powerful moment for me. But we sent this guy on holiday with his kids. Now he wasn't able to afford it, but for him it was important, really important, to be able to go away for 2 weeks, be with his family. So we paid for it, and we sent him there, and that kind of changed his kind of whole demeanour. And it's little things like that you wouldn't get from a bigger charity. They wouldn't contemplate things like that. And so for us, that is what our unique kind of selling point is. Our USP is spending the time with someone, getting to know them, and giving them something that actually benefits.
But I think is what you're saying there about is being present.
Yeah,
it's that the gift of being present is the present. You're actually being there and being present with someone, and not distracted, not caught up in all the stuff going on. For me, it's the greatest gift is to be service to someone else, and if I can be present with them and listen, and that's what we're lacking. People always feel like they haven't got time to listen. And when you actually sit there and talk to someone, and then you can feel their presence, and you know they're listening to you, it can mean the world to some people. You just feel like you're so alone and you're so lost and
sometimes that's all that's needed, because like we position ourselves, or we say we're the first port of call. So before someone needs to go down the medication route, like you can alleviate that just by listening and understanding. On the majority of cases, okay, sometimes it's not that way.
Needs different things.
It needs different things. But for the majority of the cases that we've dealt with, all it requires is a listening ear, like a genuine listening ear.
100%. And I think one thing that's wrong, and I've been a victim of it myself personally, and I know a lot of people that have, is everyone will put some sort of mask on. Yeah. So, you might, I don't know the personal story about the man and the holiday, but you don't want your kids or your missus to show weakness sometimes, to say, I can't afford to do this, because it does demasculate you.
It does,
I get that. But also around your group of friends or around your set. Like I've had a lot of calls from our Discord, which is like 100,000 people in there. I've had messages, I've spoken to people on the phone that have they've opened up to me more than they've probably opened up to anyone. I don't even know them. Do you know what I mean? They trade for the company, who speak on the phone. There's 2 people I keep in touch with. We've got a lad, as I'll mention him again, and I think he would be absolutely fine when we mention him, but Billy, who works for us now, his dad kicked him out. His dad's got a bit of money, he's a wealthy guy, he said he's never going to amount to nothing, and he had really bad mental health problems, I was that person that came, listened, gave him a job, moved him up to Newcastle.
Oh, wow.
He's I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying, he's turned to God now and stuff like that as well, and he's really cracking on in the business, he's doing things for us, he's only 20, and it just proves that a little bit of support to someone will change their life. Someone changed my life, do you know what I mean? I've had chances in the City of London that a lad would never got.
It's being seen. It's
being heard,
seen and heard, and like to me, that presence is so, we're so caught up in our heads. We're so distracted and overwhelmed by everything, technology, you name it. It's all like you said about, it's all quick fixes, you know, that dopamine hit, going on the phone and just being with someone in the present. That's where oxytocin.
You know
it's
what?
the bonding
That
chemical.
word just came into my head then.
Yeah, you get a release of oxytocin, which is so important. It's that bonding chemical. It makes you feel alive.
And that reduces cortisol.
Yeah.
So in a high stress job, oxytocin, like sharing with people, like giving, like, you know, that is the natural
balance,
equilibrium. That's what I would
and that's
promote.
what you're looking for, harmony. That's what you're so.
Well, that's why
balanced.
a lot of like drug and alcohol services, that's what their whole premise is based on: sharing, giving, taking the time out,
tribe,
which will help with that dopamine level, which keeps them seeing, you know, and following the right step. So that's where. So does that, like, so say you've done your walk and talks. Is there a at this present time, is like there a mentorship where you keep in touch with the said person, coach them along?
Sometimes the relationships are ongoing.
Yeah.
Like with this particular case, like he's still he's a friend now. Do you know what I mean? So relationships do go on, but I understand that's not always possible with everyone.
Yeah, of course.
But some people do come and go, and it's
the reality is, some people you're gonna lose people as well.
Yeah, and I was like, I always saw that as maybe we didn't help, but actually someone else described it and said, well, maybe like you have helped, but the person doesn't feel the need to then kind of continue it, and like also it's like, don't see it as a failure. Like you've helped them to a point where they can then go off and
it's a
manage
touch
it
process as well. So like for myself, like I think I struggled with mental health probably since I was about, didn't really realise it. 18, I still struggle with it now, but 18 till 27 was probably the worst times.
Yeah.
But throughout that time, it was touches.
Yeah.
So you'd meet someone, they'd touch you a little bit, as in you get something from them, you feed off them, and then you meet someone else and you feed off them. So actually, that first touch, which is you guys, is probably the single most important thing for them in their journey. It might take them 10 years to get there, but they're on the path.
It's like that kind of thing of changing their path by 1 degree, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I think
do you know what I mean?
Well, it's that compass again.
Yeah,
it just changes the compass.
It's also when you're going through, especially you're younger, you're 18 and or even younger than that. You become closed in. You become very defensive. You walk around literally with your guard up.
Yeah.
You did.
And and all of a sudden, when you meet someone and they plant that seed and they give you that inspiration, you open up. All of a sudden, it opens you up. And if you're open, then you've got more chance of learning and more chance of seeing the way out of this place that you feel you're so closed in. I mean, I'm a fitness, I would say a mental fitness trainer. I like to there's a lot of labels and stuff, but I kind of work on the fitness side of the skills, like I say, skills rather than pills, and education rather than medication. That was my approach. I needed to study this thing that was studying everything else, and as soon as the beginning of wisdom is knowing the self. You know, there's all know thyself, and there's these different sort of philosophers out there. But that's where it began for me. And if I can help people, like the walk and the talks and stuff like that. But one of the guys I've helped, he was literally that place where he didn't want to be here anymore. Yeah. And I helped him cold water therapy, breathing exercises. We done all this. He just grounding, putting his bare foot on grass and stuff like that. All this natural stuff, going in, walking in nature.
Which
the
we've
walk and
forgotten
talks.
about. Yeah,
the walk and talks. The brain is a meaning-making machine. It's forever guessing and predicting. But when you're in nature, what's called is fractals. Is the leaves and the trees? They're all the same pattern. So your brain doesn't have to guess what's next. It knows what's next because of the patterns, and it keeps. So it begins to calm it, and the peripheral sort of your peripheral vision that begins to calm. You're not so focused and tense.
The colour green as well. This
yeah,
is an interesting
green
fact.
comes in the
frequencies. The colour green is the most relaxing frequency on the eye.
Yeah. And
so
these
that calms
things,
the
well, they like green candles. They like green candles in trading, so keep them green candles.
But these things, we are part of nature, and that's what I needed to understand, and I think people more need to understand.
And that's what people struggle with.
Very separate
in our job, or say job, but yes, okay, you've got the city, you've got the finance, but the day traders that work with us and are clients of ours, you know, a lot of the time they'll just spend all day. They'll get out of bed, They'll spend all day in their room. They'll just trade
Under light, under
fake light,
Yeah.
and they'll eat at the desk. They'll not get any, motion creates emotion. They'll not get any exercise.
Yeah.
Like you say, get out there.
Oh, yeah.
Get out there before the training session
the
starts.
issue
Take
out
a
the
break before the
tissue,
next
you know?
one starts, and get out there.
Training, yeah,
Get in
yeah.
nature, breathe.
Move, yeah.
But I think, like, I've heard this thing where it's like you've got to have three things, which is I said to you before, mentality, spirituality, and physicality. I'm working on the physicality at the moment. But them three things is that balance to really start to raise you up.
I'd agree with that.
And what's next then? So we've got your walk and talks, your mentorship to help.
Yeah, we do events as well.
Yeah.
So we've got Mentality Club, which is for kids.
Yeah, fantastic.
So we do like for the past few years we've done like superhero walk. And it's just planting a seed. It's nothing too serious. So the kids can put superhero outfits on and we go for a walk out in nature.
That's where it goes wrong a lot of the time. Like for me personally, and a lot of people I'm sure watching this, not have great father figures around and stuff like that. That's your identity, isn't it? And if you skip that part, that's when the battle tends to start when they get older.
It's just about planting a seed, like not too pushy.
Yeah.
So we do that.
They're part of something. They get a medal and they feel like they've done something.
Achievement.
And they know it's giving. They're giving. They're doing it. Although they're putting their time and they're having fun, they're still giving. There's something coming.
And having male mentors that are doing positive things around them, because not everyone has that.
No. We also have a golf open, which we have sort of
George and Drew and I think Ben at Alpha Futures would love to come to that. I'm more of a hockey stick man, like Happy Gilmore. But
and also fishing. We've got a
bit of fishing,
so that's another thing. And again, like most of these things are about getting out in nature. But it's also like the sport aspect. So we sponsor one of our local football teams as well. Because football's a massive thing. For myself, I play football every Tuesday night. And that is a big thing for my mental health, my stress levels. It's an hour and a half of just letting off steam.
Yeah, of course.
And when I find when I don't play for 2 weeks or whatever, I feel pent up.
So many people like that in the gym as well, aren't they? Not in the gym, they're just
my patience levels. I'm snappy at home. So I know for me, getting out playing football is really good for my.
That one thing on your list again. That seal. Yeah. Have you set your seals? Have you got Have I done my football this week? Yeah. Have I went out in nature this week?
I will
ticking the boxes.
I will kind of rearrange or reorganise like business meetings. If nothing happens on a Tuesday for me, I play football
because you put yourself
first.
First.
100%. So that is that's a big thing for me.
I mean, the vision where boxing side of thing, I know that I will go back to that, but that's my passion. That's what I feel in a way saved me in a lot of ways. And so when I help people, I take them on the pads. There's a little girl, Maeve. She's dealing with stuff, and like every 13, 14-year-old, and I take her on the pads, and she just lights up. She'll throw some shots and connects with her right hand, and I go, whoa, like that was powerful. And she'll feel it, and a little face, and we do a little bit of groundwork, press ups, sit ups. And then we do a little bit of what I call brain training, like meditation, but it's like brain training. It's a muscle.
Connected.
It's the same as everything else. You've got to train it. You've got to exercise.
And you've got to slow it down.
Yeah.
You can't just, with weights, you can't just keep pushing something.
That's exactly what we do. We do a little bit of brain training at the end of the session and just lower that level, calm down and be with ourselves, come into ourselves. And it's amazing. So my vision, I don't know if I'm sort of going... the vision of mentality, what I'd like to bring into it is the boxing side of things, is a gym.
Misfits, if you're watching, we've got someone here.
Yeah, it is.
We'll get you on.
He's got pedigree as well.
Yeah,
he's got pedigree.
Part of the stress response, fight, flight, freeze. Fight. Yeah. Don't matter who I've took on the pads over the years, male, female, young, old, whatever it be. It's a lovely feeling to hit something without hurting yourself and hurting them or something.
Yeah, not someone else.
So you actually hit it, and it's such a lovely feeling. Anyone I've done it, they get such a lovely feeling at it. It releases something. And so I'd like to, and there's confidence, there's discipline, there's that focus, and there's that community again. I'd like to, that's where I'm working towards, a gym for the kids, and mixing with the brain training, mixing with the breathing exercises. Let them understand that when you're angry or when you're upset or you're anxious or you're happy, you're breathing differently. All these emotions, you breathe differently. Yeah. It's a physiology. So when you know that you can control that with the right pattern of breathing, then you're not going to get over anxious. You're not going to lose your
it's just it's so relatable for what we do with the trading aspect. You know, with it is the main thing is it's physical. It's not just it's not physical. It's the mental strength and understanding your brain. Understand when to turn it on, understand when to turn it off.
Well, Tony Robinson does that 15-minute or 20 before he gets out there. The stuff he does to prepare that preparation to get him. It just shows you that you can control this. Your breathing is a remote control to the body. You know, if you get that.
Do you know, it'd be interesting to see some of the traders that are watching that do struggle with this, or any trader, because everyone gets a bad head from the market sometimes. To see if they start implementing things that you've just mentioned into their life. So the nature. Are you being physical? Are you getting in the gym? And are you doing some breathing exercises? Adding that to your actual routine of life, will that improve your trading? Probably will.
For me, the only reason I done cold water, and it's a big thing now. I mean, I've been doing it. I stumbled on Wim Hof probably 8-9 years ago, and the reason I done it
He's brilliant,
was because I wanted to shut this voice in my head. This voice was telling me all this stuff. And because it's not me. We have faults. That we're not our faults. We have emotions. We're experiencing this, you know. So for me, I needed to, like I say, get that skill and that to a level of control as to what was going on here. So when I got in the water, it gives you a million reasons not to get in the water. We ain't doing this, no way. But when you're in there, it shows something. Oh, he's done it.
Yeah, like a bit of sea.
You're in there, and it's just the calmness, and your body goes, "Oh, he's done this." Like,
but it's also
how it gives you that.
How effective are you? And you know, I've seen this before, especially on the trading aspect. Is if you're tired and your mind's telling in your ear, you think about something else. But if you're doing stuff to actually
give back,
focus more. When you get on them charts, or when you do whatever you're doing, you're focused to combat it. Right, I'm here for 4 hours now. I'm grounded. I'm ready to go. My mind's fresh. I don't have any anxiety. I'm super focused to get this job done. You know what I mean?
I guarantee you as well, anyone that's watching it on your platform, they're sat at a desk or watching a screen, and they're going to be breathing within the top 20% of their diaphragm. Shallow breathing. We don't
belly
ever take a
from
deep
the
full
diaphragm.
breath.
I've seen that 20 breaths in the morning. Deep ones,
that'll get you ready. Like something so simple that can just be applied. I guarantee you, people are watching it. They're just like really shallow.
A lot of the time, we don't realise when we're breathing incorrectly. And when you hear that, you think, "Well, I'm not breathing properly. I'm alive." Sort of, but it's from the diaphragm, belly breathing, like.
I've seen it, like Ricks and Gracie and all the MMA stuff. They used to do all the breathing techniques. You see it, but I would love to see some of the traders. So I might put something in the Discord and I'm speak to you guys first and give them 3 top tips of what to do and see if they implement it for a month. Has their trading improved? It might be. If one of the marketing guys are watching, there might be something that I might roll out.
Definitely.
As a competition.
Practical.
Yeah, competition. Listen, 4 of you, I want you to record this, doing all that.
Nice,
How much have you improved this month? That's going to be something I'm going to do. So keep an eye out for that.
These are simple things. A lot of the time, they're free as well. They don't cost anything to put the shower on colder. Don't cost anything to go for a walk. You know?
Your mum will be happy if you're not using hot water if you live at home still. Keep bills down.
These things don't have to be expensive. You don't have to think, I can't afford to see a counsellor. You can do these things on a without having to break the bank.
This goes on to a really good point of what we want to kind of push on with mentality. What we want to do is we want to create accessible courses, online courses. So we want to have, like, for example, the first course that we want to roll out is with Jamie, talking about how he overcome his anxiety. Now we want it to be cheap so that like the masses can afford it, accessible, and then we want to build upon it, and that there's different people within our kind of tribe that have different skill sets, and we want to record it, get it onto an online training course so that people can access it and people can just educate people.
Do you know what though? I'm being serious when we do this because psychology is such an important thing. Maybe we can help you do that. You can launch it on our platform first, and we'll give you all the studio time to go and shoot it. Wow. And we'll do it for you 100%.
Brilliant. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that because it's so important. But I think honestly, Jamie, I think we should do that. So I'll speak to the guys later today, tomorrow, and we'll get you a course out. We'll launch it to ours. Any money, anything people pay for it, we'll give it to the charity anyway.
Well, that's a side effect of it. If we've got our own ways of like having an income, like that, then perpetuates like we can help more people.
People can't also, you got to, as the traders know, you got to get paid for your work, and someone's got to do it. But I think more importantly, I think we should. I would love to help you with that and do some courses and get them out there.
I mean, for me, like what comes to mind is the younger, like doing these courses and doing this stuff and the boxing, any kind of training and giving them sort of wisdom and skills is the young ones. They haven't got, like you touched on earlier, they haven't got a father figure or a mentor, someone that they can go and we can't. Years ago, we had tribes. Someone's not gone before them, have they?
No, that's the issue. Like, I've had to put like you say, getting your seals out, your compass. No one give me the path. No. I've had to go out on them stormy seas, as had many. Do it yourself, and I've fucked it up many times. Yeah.
Well, smooth seas don't make a good sailor.
Yeah, of course. But wouldn't it be nice to have someone go, oh, you're steering too far to the right there, son. Yeah. Get yourself back in line. And that's what's missing. So we will definitely help you get that out. And we can do it on our platform.
I think 100%. on that note is that there's no sort of, you're not tested. You're not. Years ago, they sort of what we were saying about the path of like you get to a certain age, men, like more so men. I mean, girls as well, young girls, but
the rite of passage.
Yeah, the rite of passage. That's it. Yeah, they're lost. They sort of think, well, who am I? There's no real test.
There's no identity.
If you're cold, you put the heating on. If you're hot, then you've got the air conditioning.
Life is so comfortable.
It's
so comfortable and easy.
It's almost like the dis-ease, which is what it is, dis-ease in your system, is a result of ease, having it all so easy. Everything's so accessible, easy, and
again, that relates to traders because they're sat down at a desk all day.
And these youngsters are testing themselves, and they might be doing naughty stuff, doing like we do, because you need to find out who you are. You need to be tested. You need that stress. You need
resilience, and that's what. Do you know what? That's why there's such a major failure rate in trading. Like it's only 5% that make it properly. And some people might nick a few quid, but 5%. Why is that? It's never normally due to how they can read charts. It's normally their mental resilience. How many times can you get kicked down, and get back up and have another go? You know, because with this, you have to change away from mentality. You have to have a relentless mentality to achieve it. You know, some people, fortunately, they get away with it. They're just born like that. Some people, you have to train it. But I do believe, as we're talking about now, you can train that mentality. But it's not just about what they're doing on the charts and what education they're doing. How are they improving their psychology for the market, and what goes into that cup? You've got your two cups. You've got your trading cup in terms of your knowledge of the market. You've got your other cup, which is how your trade setups, understand how to read charts. And you've got another cup, which is your mentality, your spirit,
your
philosophy, how you deal with day-to-day life. But we will definitely help you do this and put these courses online.
And there's also education on diet with kids, because they're surrounded by takeaways constantly, like easy, and that food is full of so many chemicals, I mean, I do the keto diet, and that was originally 1920.
I do the
originally
KFC
for mental health, for seizures, for epilepsy. These children, they eliminated. It was an elimination diet to the point that they stopped their seizures. Nothing else was touching it. No drugs. Nothing else was touching the fact that and parents were getting their children back. They were saying, well, they're not having a seizure every half an hour, 15 minutes, whatever it be. And that was all down to the diet, which shows you the connection, this link between the gut and the brain, and how important eating the right stuff.
Desk so easy. Like for myself and many traders, I'm sure, that don't have the luxury of, Mum, can you give me dinner up here? They don't have that luxury. What are they doing? Because when they look at the charts, all they're doing is order Uber Eats and eating something quickly at my desk.
Instant, quick,
you know,
but also 3 square meals a day. That's what it's promoted. But you go back thousands of years ago, like tribes. They never had 3 square meals.
No, they used to have to hunt for
They used to hunt. So there was periods where they were fasting. Like that's natural. That is why the body thrives in a fasting state, because that is how we will that's how our kind of physiology, that's how we evolved. Like we're not used to this comfort of having 3 square meals a day, and that then leads into the whole resilience thing, because everything is so comfortable. Parents try their hardest to do the best for their kids. But essentially what they're doing is building this bubble around them, so they're not exposing them to need certain things.
The thing is, it's like you say, it's that, going back to the seals and compass, it's like you've either gotten on and you have to learn how to swim, and that can it is sink or swim, or you let them go as a parent, because I'm a parent, I'm sure everyone is. You you let them out, and you go, oh, listen, you going for, okay, well, I'll pick you back up, but you need that guidance.
Well, yeah, it's like when you're watching them.
It's like a kid trying to walk, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, they're gonna fall. You know, they're gonna fall. You can't put
and it's
pillows
hard to
around them all the
change
time.
as well.
And as
Change
much
is
as it's hard, you know that's the process. If they don't learn that, then they're not gonna walk. Then they're gonna be sitting all the time. And it's comfort. That's the thing. Comfort eating. When you get certain emotions, some people go straight to the phone rather than addressing it and sitting with yourself, self-reflection. You're using this to regulate your nervous system. Your nervous system, you need you, and if you're forever using other things to regulate yourself, then you're never ever going to really know your true self.
And I think
we're
a nice analogy I've just thought of is with the kid, like learning to walk. As a parent, you let them fail, but safely. So you don't obviously let them walk into a road. Like you
feel delicately,
you kind
it's
of you let them fail, but safely. It's not going to kill them. And it kind of makes me think of the way you're set up with the prop trading. You're getting people on smaller accounts.
Yeah.
You're letting them, if they do make mistakes, you're letting them
put your life savings in there.
You're letting them fail safely until they've got the confidence to build.
Feel safely, and another way is feel forward as well.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you keep moving, you take a few steps, you fall. Take a few steps, you fall. Eventually, it's like that evolution. The picture of the evolution from the ape to the man. You see it just grow, don't you? It's got to be a growth process.
If you do feel like you've gone backwards, I've had people and I just feel like I've gone backwards. And the analogy I come up with at the time was if there's a big sort of crater, like gap in front of you, you've got to jump to the other side. Well, sometimes you've got to take a step back to get a run up. You know, if you stood there and jumped, you're not going to make it. So that was my sort of analogy of saying, right, you may have took a step back, but it might be for the right reasons to launch yourself.
Sometimes backwards isn't always the worst thing, and I suffered with it for a long time. Is going in circles. Yes. You can go backwards, you've got another chance to go forward. But if you're just in circles, you've got no momentum to try and to go back at it. But so in terms of the next vision, we're going to help you. Definitely get the courses online.
Brilliant.
I'm going to have some really good ideas with one of the guys in the business, other business owners, about how we can maybe do something with a group of traders, and maybe yourself. Jamie could do it. You know, we'll sponsor it. Do a course with them every day to see if that improves their trading. If they, help them with a psychology aspect, help them calm their systems, help them do things, add extra things to their daily life to see if it works, and we'll document it.
Nice.
So that would be a really cool thing to do. We'll give you some studio time to get these courses knocked up as well, definitely. Nice. But what about the online? So you said at the start you want to get more online. What is it you want to actually do with that?
So it's about kind of building a presence with the brand, because essentially it is a brand. So we want to build our socials. But also the way I see the course or the courses that we evolve, that is an online resource. So I see that as being a big part of how we move forwards. And it's not kind of that difficult. It's that simple, really. It is. And it is that simple.
It's an instruction manual. It's like what you got obviously your courses with that, but you said you got to teach a man to fish as well. Some people haven't got a clue where to start. I want to go and be an astronaut. Be whatever you want to be. I want to go and be a trader. Fine. What's my instruction manual?
Education.
If you build them courses to educate them. I want to go and be a builder. I want to go and do this. Right, let's get you on a course. Let's show you how to instill this into you. Get you trained up and release you. You know what I mean? Into doing stuff. But I think that's great.
And what's harder is scaling, like the actual tangible side of it. So like the events, the walks and stuff like that. Like making that sort of national or global. That's harder. But there's no reason why we can't create like a manual as such, or like a franchise that you can then, or different communities can adopt. Where you just need a few core people to like arrange regular walks to then build up a community, like build up a tribe. So it is doable.
Also that like what we talked about, the rite of passage. You get people now. There's places where you can go retreats and you can do the cold water and the breathing, but there's nothing for the younger generation to do that. To have this sort of, just like I say, camp, even if it's a day thing, just the being out in nature, understanding the way it works, understanding yourself. We are part of nature. Is the doctor. We are part of that. It is us. So just back to basics with the lifestyle. No Wi-Fi's and fires, and just understanding, like I say, what's around you.
It's also just basic stuff. Like from my background, childhood. I don't even know. My missus will tell you if she's watching this. I didn't know how to change a light bulb. I don't. Ain't got a clue. You know,
until someone teaches you.
Yeah, we've just moved house, yeah. And she's had her stepdad round, she's had her dad round, doing all the stuff. I can't do nothing. Couldn't do a flat pack. Can do a lot of good things very well. But then basic core principles that someone has passed down to someone, that mentor, that father figure, I can't do any of that.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what people need to, that's what hopefully what you guys are doing, which I love to support, is helping these young people to go, right, we'll show you what to do for when you have children, you know, because it's, you know, if I've got 2 little girls, but, you know, if I had, you know, and I've got a stepson as well, but, you know, it's like I wouldn't have a clue. Like someone said, can you show me how to do this? You'll probably do it better than I can. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's going on to parenting. Like, for me, like, that's the hardest job in the world.
Of course.
It's the hardest job in the world, and there's no manual.
No,
there's no
manual.
Like, and like everyone
but it's the most important as well. You know,
it is. It's the toughest job in the world.
But it's the basics, isn't it? It's the basics. Like, if my daughter rang me and said, "Dad, can you come and put a shelf up?" I can't do that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I'd have to go, I'll pay someone to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas it would be good to...
Well, I think
like you see,
when
these
you
little
do
treats
things,
for
you
these
get
young lads.
more out of it. You get something from it. When you're actually doing something yourself, there's an achievement there.
But it's showing
it's
the future generation that maybe are struggling with mental health to be that person to come on as a mentor and say, look, let me show you how to do a few things and how
and
that'll mean the world to them.
Yeah.
Because that would mean the world to me. If someone showed me how to do something now at 33 years of age, I'd be like, oh, thanks for spending the time.
Look at that shelf and you say, oh, I've done that.
I didn't use a level though, which I know which one of them are. I didn't know what
Don't go near it, don't put anything on it.
Down. I think for the audience, so what I think a lot of people in our community, the traders, struggle with can be that being alone, being out there alone, yeah? And there's a couple of things that have been said to me is, one, what would be the top 3 tips for you to do when you're feeling sad, down and lonely? What would you say them top 2? What would you start with?
So first and foremost for me is get out there. If you're feeling lonely, it's so simple. Get out there. Go out and go to the coffee shop and get a coffee in person.
Just be around people.
Be around people.
Energy.
Be around people. Smile at someone. Like, it's just simple little things like that.
Can't do that in London. They think you're going to rob them.
Yeah,
in Newcastle you can.
But it's about kind of little things like building rapport, getting to know people, like just simple little things like that helps. Like helps.
Well,
stop you
joining
feeling
clubs, football, boxing, golf.
Clubs,
it can be chess. It can be painting.
Whatever
it can
it
be
is.
art. It can be dance.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's mixing up because my job is the same. I've got a lonely job. I just set stones in rings, diamond setter, and I can spend a lot of time on my own. But I don't think that's a bad thing. Loneliness is more of a if we want to get into the label good and bad, is when you're surrounded by friends and family or whatever, and you feel lonely. That's not a nice feeling. That's something that needs to be addressed. When you're actually alone, I think I get quite a lot of pleasure from it in the sense there's self-reflection. There's a solitude there. I can sit with myself, and if I do get stressed, okay, how does that feel? I can recognise in my body, does it feel warm here? Am I feeling it more in the chest? I think it's an opportunity. I don't see alone as a bad thing. The only time I see that as a bad thing is when you're in the company of other people, friends, family, and you feel alone. That's where I think you do need to perhaps talk to someone or find someone you can share with.
This is one thing, and you might have a tip for people watching this. One of the major things, and I just mentioned earlier about Billy, the lad that his dad thought trading was a waste of time for him. We took him on. He's a good trader as well, but he's working with us now. You know, a lot of people's family, not everyone has the greatest family, right?
No.
You can't choose your family.
No.
You choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. You know, a lot of people, you know, get down because like their mum and dad think they're worthless because they're trying to be a trader, you know. And again, I don't think you can give a tip for that, but you've just got to, again, just discipline, knuckle down, work harder, and make it possible.
I think as well, you need to validate people's opinions. Everyone's got an opinion. Like, you wouldn't take an opinion of a butcher about gold. So you have to really kind of filter it, and you have to develop your own filter. So if your parents are telling you, like, don't become a trader, like, get a trade, become an electrician, which is what my parents said, like, be an electrician, like, no, I want to do it. And I think that comes from, like, again, emotional intelligence. Have the empathy and the understanding to know that they generally want the best for you, and they think they know best. Yeah. What I would say is communication, like understanding. Talk to them, like talk to your parents, like build up an understanding. And like, it's tough.
Yeah,
Talking is tough, but once you've got that level of empathy and understanding, like, they might come around to it. They might support you. They might kind of think differently. But yeah, you have got to filter that.
And I think it's also, like you said about the gold analogy, it is mentors, yeah? So if I want to go and be a trader, or if I want to go and be a diamond setter, I wouldn't go and ask my mum, who's a beautician, do you think I should become a trader?
Exactly.
She can't give, as much as I love her, she can't give me that. She might think it's best, but I remember when I first moved to London, and I took on a job at a brokerage, MB Capital, first ever job, and we didn't have a salary. It was all commission. And my mum was like, nah, you're never gonna, I'd never do that. It's crazy. But I listened to the people that have done it, that I could see that were doing so well, and they had the house, they had the family, and I thought, I'll stick to this game. Because this is what's possible. Doesn't matter what my mum from the North East said.
You're learning from people who have the experience.
100%.
That's
and
key.
you're building your own confidence. You're learning about yourself. You're understanding, because it's just the way it is. We come into a tribe, a family, and we have to fit in as a child. So we got this decision: do we be authentic and be ourselves, or do we sacrifice that by attachment? And we need attachment to survive. So we do people please. We do what pleases them. And as you get older, you start you're forever doing it, and then you start. I need to find out my authenticity, who I am, and what my journey is, what my direction is. I love the fact that they want the best for me, brilliant. But you've got to then it's that age where, like I say, that turning point when you've got to hold it and hold your own power and say, okay, I respect and love you to bits, but that's not what I want to do. I don't want to be a beautician. I don't want to be in that direction. I want this, and I'm going to do it. And please just try and support me. It's that people are afraid to open up and be honest and talk from the heart. It's that open again. It's that we're so caught in this a competition, like at school, everything's competing. There's no support.
And the social media, let's say, everyone's got
caught
a
in your head. There's problem solving. It's all about that, and you end up closing in. So it's trying to be open. I would my sort of shout out there is to just be as open your heart, be as open as you can. Obviously, there's a certain amount of protection around a certain kind of people who will take advantage. But don't be so closed in.
I'll always say, and I'll say this, people will take advantage. And when you're younger, like I've took so many things to heart when I was younger, now it just bounces off me. Okay. But it's like, right, okay, you might get some shit for it. They might say some hurtful things. But remember, they aren't doing that. No. They aren't successful at what you want to be successful at. So don't even worry about it.
And it's taking a personal thing. I mean, not everyone's into Van Gogh, say, but someone go, that's a rubbish painting. But he's not going to say that personally. That's just your view. That's just one person's view.
But if your mum and dad buys Van Goghs and don't become a trader, just get the money off them.
Exactly.
That's it.
But I think as well,
self-worth.
I think as well, like some people are just toxic, and you can't change them. So like having the self-conviction to be able to just limit exposure. Like, okay, like sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind to yourself, to protect yourself, protect your own energy. Just limit exposure. Like
sorry, mate, I got the toxic or the bad. They only know what they know. They're only aware of their consciousness of. They're only aware of what they're aware of. So I kind of, if I had the same sort of life, I had the same upbringing, the same parenting, and same schooling, and the same whatever, I would be that person. So, because I used to get that pushback, but I've learned to just be more compassionate and more understanding that they are where they are. They only know what they know, and it's not a self-reflection of me. It's more a self-reflection of them.
It's hard. It's unfortunately though, it is hard when you're younger. You have to go through that, and it's very hard, because what's really important to realise is whatever you decide to do, and if you're committing to become a trader, you have to commit 100%. Otherwise, don't do it. Because it's not for everyone. It's
remove yourself from them people who you do find challenging or toxic. You just remove yourself and keep your
don't listen to the naysayers. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, I think as well, it's knowing when to do it. And like you say, knowing when to give someone a bit more time, but knowing when to say, I need to protect my own energy. And it's quite nice.
The self-awareness.
You're a diamond setter, but like how are diamonds formed?
Pressure, love it.
That's it. It needs
friction.
Pressure.
You need that environment. You need
pressure.
that environment.
Yeah. The best diamonds are, they're formed by pressure. I think the last thing I'd like to end it on, before we talk about the next steps, is we've kind of covered most of it, but if you had to give two questions. If you're struggling badly, what would be the first thing you should do? I know mentality at the moment, we're mostly here in the UK, which I'm sure if anyone is struggling and they're in and around where we are, in London, they could always pick the phone up and give you guys a call. But what is the number one thing that you would suggest if you're sitting at home now and you're watching this and you feel worthless? I've been there, I'm sure some of you have, where you're at the bottom. Yeah, what's your advice for the first little step? Because it's all little steps, right?
Yeah, for me, my sort of turning point to wake up where I was that low, I was at that place where I didn't want to be here anymore, was that it's a persona, it's a story going on in my head. It's not really me. If I was at that place where, like I say, I didn't want to be here, but all of a sudden someone threw me in a river, I know for a fact I'd fight to swim out. My body would say, I'm getting out of this. So it's recognising that, again, back to that, we're not our faults. We're experiencing faults. We have faults. We cannot be like, we have 60,000, etc., whatever plus a day. We cannot be them faults. We're not our emotions. So it's about being aware, stepping back, finding that distance between this story you have of yourself, this persona, this character, this role that we played, and seeing that I don't want to die. What needs to die is this story I've got. And if you can find that space, just a little bit of space in between you and this caught up in this voice, that's telling you, because it does lower you, it does depress you, it does take the life out of you, because you're repeating this over and over again. You're caught up in this dialogue, this negative narrative, this self-critic, and it's realising that if you can just realise that that's not you, that's just a story. The only thing that's happening, what's real, is now this present moment. Even the past is a story. It's a memory. The future is imagination. And this is where we get caught up in. We're so caught up in our heads. And if we can just see that and that can be breathing, that can be just sitting there and go, okay, I'm just going to take some nice calm breaths now. Nothing, you don't have to just keep it nice and calm. Do that for 5-10 minutes and you'll realise that what's going on here is just an illusion. It's all going on, it's all a story, and there is a brighter days out, there is a better times, and that's for me personally.
I would say first and foremost, like, be kind to yourself. I think a lot of us are hard on ourselves, like we're our own worst critics, so I'd say be kind to yourself, but also I would say talk to someone who relates, talk to someone who understands what you're going through. Like, you've got a community in Discord group.
Massive,
Be active on that, for example. Like, share, engage, like talk to someone. And this is a myth as well. Like, talking's easy. Like, it's not. Sometimes talking is the hardest thing to do. But if you can get over that and you can talk about your problems, you can get over it. And I think there's a really nice process that happens when you talk to someone. You order your thoughts. So these thoughts that are like a whirlwind in your mind, by articulating them into words, you order them, and that process in itself,
writing them down as well.
Writing them down. Perfect example. You're having to think about it so that you can kind of articulate it, make it into like an ordered kind of sort of structure or sentence. So that would be my advice. Try and talk to someone who can understand.
And I think from my side, for advice, for what it's worth, is, we talked about this again. I keep going back to the analogy, but the sails and the compass. Who do you want to be? And go and be that. And how do you get there? Write your goals down. Understand what you need to do in every part of them goals to be successful. Get your mentality. So do something to improve your mentality. Take a course. Watch some YouTube. Listen to some positive self-talk. Spirituality. We all know what spirituality is, regardless of what your background is. That could be religion, that could be connecting, your meditation. and physicality. Your boxing, your golf, your whatever, going for a run and getting outside. Focus on them 3 things.
Sleep is massive.
Sleep, massive.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do when you've got when you're
Stress,
200 points offside on the Nasdaq and you're waking up, you know, at all times and I go, what's happening in the market? That's hard.
Really
but keeping them 3 things, your diet, your physicality, and then writing all your goals down. How do you achieve?
I've got a nice little anecdote actually, because I call it a personal statement.
Yeah.
Which essentially is my goals, but it's it's all sorts of things. It's relationships.
So like you have to do the affirmations and stuff.
Yes,
like that,
it's So like back when I kind of had my mindset shift, someone put me in touch with this book called Think and Grow Rich.
Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill changed my life. In there, he talks about writing a personal statement. So I thought I'll give this a go. This was like 15 years ago. So I decided to write my personal statement, and within that, I had 2 financial figures. I had 250,000 and I had 10,000, and I didn't really worry about how these figures were going to come into my life, but I put them in there and I thought I'm going to trust it.
Put the lottery on every week.
I'm going to trust this idea of a personal statement which was new to me. Like I'm going to have this, and I read it before I went to bed. Yeah. And when I woke up, so when my mind was in a certain sort of, my subconscious was receptive. So I persisted with that for months. This was in the summer. Now, in December, so I carried on reading this every day. In December, we sold our flat. Guess how much for?
250 grand.
On the dot.
Yeah.
And at Christmas, we got given a random 10 grand check. Yeah, just out of the blue. And like, I was like...
And
I was like, wow, how, and it kind of, and then from then on, I've developed it. My personal statement has evolved over the years, like, and it continues to come into my life. You
mentioned Napoleon Hill, and you mentioned Think and Grow Rich, and he's done another couple of great books as well. But it is that knowledge, right? And you can get, because we have people from all sorts of backgrounds that trade with us. A lot of stuff's free. So Think and Grow Rich, I think, is free on YouTube. The audio.
Yeah.
But again, it's
over
like
100 years old. Yeah. Still relevant.
But you know, all are 47 Laws of Power, Art of War, all this stuff. Yeah. But you know, look at like you say the old Brian Tracy tapes. Yeah. You know, the Zig Ziglars, the
Jim Rohn.
I've never heard of him, but
The Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn.
I'm going to look at that.
Unbelievable.
Make sure you do. Yeah. Tony Robbins. It might be act a bit gimmicky, but it ignites something. And just follow the process. Do it for a year. See what it does there.
Tony Robbins learnt from Jim Rohn.
Oh, right, okay.
Jim Rohn was Tony Robbins' mentor. Yeah.
And I think people that are watching this, give this a go, what we've talked about today. We'll definitely do something, Jamie, 100% to involve the community. But we'll definitely do something that, or if you're watching this today, look at what we just talked about. The Brian Tracy's, the Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, all the tips today that we've discussed. Get outside in nature, you breathe in your cold showers, all stuff that's accessible to you, which won't just improve your trading overall, I believe, because it's mindset, but it'll improve your life. And it's free.
Philosophy,
just spend some time and do it. Or just give it a chance. People don't give it a chance and go, that'll never work. Do it for 6 months and tell me if it does.
Yeah, to go back, going back to what you were saying there, we got because I like to understand the body, that's where, you know what I mean, and we've got a system, a reticular activating system. And this system is like a matchmaker. It's like a GPS. So whatever we live our lives, what we're focusing on, that's what we generate into our life. So when my wife was pregnant, when I went out the door, when I went to work, everywhere I went, there was pregnant women.
They weren't yours, were they?
They were mine. But that's what's important on my list as what I need to see. When you're going to buy a car, you check out the car you want, you say, right, that's right. When you buy it, you're driving home, you see 7, 8 the same car. But everyone's driving the same car, so it's what's important to you. That's what the body will do. And if these people go, just my luck, that's because you're just focusing on the negatives. You're just focused on.
Here's one for you,
and that's what will matchmake. It'll bring that to you.
I learned this. I've said it a few times in the Discord. Someone said what luck stands for, which is going to blow your mind, because it blew mine when I heard it. Labouring under correct knowledge. You know, how true is that? Yeah. You know, you've got the knowledge. We've talked about that today. Go and labour. Labour for a little while. Yeah.
So it's about paying attention to what you're paying attention to. Of course. Really, and I think that's
what's going in.
Yeah.
So I think 3 things I'd love to do, right? First of all would be number 1 is to do something with our community and you guys. So let's do we'll decide it, but maybe like a little break for 5-10 days, which is trading but also mental health. And we'll bring 10 people on, 10 guests on to do it with us. Or we'll do a walk, do it like up a mountain. We'll have to get fit first.
Challenge, physical challenge.
Yeah, physical challenge, or we'll get some lads to get on a box gym, punch each other. That'll be fun. That'll be fun viewing. No, but you know, we'll do something on that manner.
Brilliant.
Another thing I'd love to do is I want to get the community involved in Discord. So I'd love to sponsor something where we can have you come to us and shoot some content and get people, get 3 or 4 traders to engage in some of the tips that you've said today and see if that would improve themselves. But also 100% we'd love to support you getting the calls out there. Fantastic. And we'll do that, yeah? We'll raise money for you throughout the year. So if you are watching, I wasn't going to do this at first, but if you don't want to be tight, we'll put a link down there for you to donate, which I think I'll do personally, but I think it's a great thing to do because this is a serious issue. Serious issue. But if everyone groups together, we can make a difference. And unfortunately, or fortunately, have you look at it, you know, money will give the opportunity for people to, like yourselves, to actually get out there and help
And that's
people.
what it's about, support. I think that's what we're lacking. We're all very, very divided. We're very separate. And that's why I think the issues are with mental health, because we're all feel like they're alone again, you know, and doing things like this and supporting each other and showing that, there's safety in numbers, you know, it's that old...
It is, but we've got to say thank you,
primitive.
personally thank you, because you're helping people, do you know what I mean? It's hard to do it. You know, I'd love to do a lot more of this stuff, and I'm going to really try and involve myself with you guys as much as I possibly can.
Fantastic.
Because it's so important, you know, and unless you've been through it, as I have, and there's others and people watching this, you'll never know what it's like. But we will encompass what you guys are doing within our community and vice versa. And you know, might even do some free courses to help people learn how to trade in your mentality.
That would be an idea, wouldn't it?
That would be
like
a good
helping
thing.
People
Getting
who
up and for a couple of days.
My issue with like financial is cost me.
Of course.
Well,
so
on behalf of Mentality, like, thank you guys as well for giving us this opportunity.
Yeah, we'll do it.
We've worked so hard, kind of like voluntary, the last 5 years to have this opportunity. It's a game changer. For us.
We did launch the merch store. I'm trying to look at the guy that launched it for us. Which
he's hiding. He's hiding.
Which we got 300,000 traders.
It was like that
so
Homer
that
Simpson meme, innit? He just goes.
The Homer Simpson meme. But for some reason, I mean, you ordered an extra large and a medium came. But you know, all profits to that will go to you guys.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank
and
you.
we'll do some stuff throughout the year, this year.
Looking forward to it.
And don't be tight. There's going to be a code underneath. Give something. Help the guys out and help them grow.
Thank you.
100%. And then also, we've got a check. So I think we did, I don't know, it was 2-3 days over Christmas. I'm looking at someone. Which we donated $1 from Alpha Futures and Alpha Cap to every account that sold. So we got a check.
Wow,
come in the cheap, Danny. Well, come on, mate. Everyone knows who you are now.
Wow, look at this.
There's a check for...
Shall I put it in the middle of us?
Yeah, £4,755.22p. I'll send you the bank transfer because that'll definitely bounce if you go in.
Thank you.
From us for you guys to get you kicked off.
Let's hold that up.
So I hope that helps. But we will.
Wow.
We'll give you our full support this year, and we'll get things. Things done. It's been a pleasure to meet you first time today.
Fantastic, Alex.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Thank you.